Yuki Tsunoda is the new bad boy on the block this weekend as he becomes the second BMW driver this season already to earn penalty points from the FIA. After his careless incident in Austria, he picks up 3 penalty points to his license. His teammate Esteban Ocon last week received the same penalty for similar reasoning as well.
Episode 3, Season 6 is here from the Dutch Grand Prix in Zandvoort. Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode now as we are coming off of, the up and down start to the season from the win in the season opener in Silverstone. Going into last episode, didn't quite replicate the success in Austria, but we kept the Red Bull, energy drink, kind of power going with a still victory for our teammate of Felipe Drugovich here. So that takes us now into Zandvoort for round 3, where as well we have an interesting development in the story coming here in just a few moments time that you're going to get a little bit of a teaser on that I'm excited for, potentially going into season 7 already. I know we're talking about season 7 a little bit early, but going into qualifying, we touched on it last season. Remember in one of the episodes I wanted to maybe get in touch with some ownership in Formula 2? Well, let's expand on it here. Hey, you told me to give you a call?
Yeah, I've finally got good news. High-Tech GP wants to talk with you about your ownership idea. Let's set up a meeting for next week.
A brief but important call, and we're going to have an upcoming meeting with High-Tech GP in Formula 2 about the ownership idea that I wanted to expand into that series and kind of give back to the new wave of drivers coming up through the series as well. This is an idea that I want to kind of get a taste of here in this game, and in F1 24 really expand upon, assuming F2 is in that game. So kind of using this as the testing the waters kind of game for that idea. So we still have to have a meeting and see where that goes. Q1, Ocon, Tsunoda, Vesti, Marino, Sato, Zhou, Guan Yu all out there. And look at this, in Q2 actually, rain starts coming down here in the second qualifying session now. So I made a lap pretty late in this session here, and my first lap was going okay, right up until about here when I'm running down the McLaren Toyota of Alex Albon, a bit of a shallow exit, bit of a slip and slide, and then in the next braking zone I actually completely missed the apex. That forces my hand to have to make a second attempt, but fortunately the second attempt was actually a little bit quicker, and then of course I didn't make a mistake, so as long as we bring it back to the line, we're going to be fine. Albon goes top of the board, but we get up there into a decent position there, P3. As look at this, Hamilton's out as Jack Doohan gets through into P6. Mayer, Gasly, and his Andretti teammate of Lawson out, and the rookie of Yuri Vips for Lotus out as well. Q3 late in the session, everybody on track, and the rain had let up, and now the track was in that early stages of drying now. So I was trying to be the latest one on the track, but it wasn't drying at a rate to where it was going to make a big difference for going later than the other cars. And you can see Aiden Jackson going to the top of the board. Albon's dropping down the order. It's not been a good start to the season for Alex Albon. He's going to come to the line. He goes quicker, but not quick enough there. Doing P6. How about that? A good backup from Q2 as Verstappen's down in 9th, Norris 7th, Piastri in 8th. What's it going to be for us through the exit of the banking down this front straightaway to the line? And it's only going to be enough for P6 again, as my teammate of Drugovich goes P5. Russell on pole, Albon P2, Jackson 3rd. Is this where we see Albon turn things around after a rough start to the first 2 Grand Prix this season? Let's find out and head to the grid.
For years, the passionate Dutch fans have been easy to find trackside in races across Europe. Here this weekend, it's even easier to find the Dutch fans as they have a race to call their own once again. A warm welcome to all of our viewers in the Netherlands and around the globe, of course, as we get underway for the Dutch Grand Prix. Zandvoort circuit then, 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left, with plenty of steep camber and elevation changes to keep our drivers on their toes throughout the 2.6 mile lap. And watch out for cars making use of the DRS zone into turn 1 to attempt an overtake. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, just edging out Alex Albon, who'll start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Jackson, Leclerc, Drugovich, Golden Boy, Doohan, Norris, Oscar Piastri, Verstappen, Hamilton, Mayer, Gasly, Liam Lawson, Yuri Vips, Ocon, Tsunoda, Vesti, Sato and Zhou Guanyu. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
George, starting from pole today, is the goal to win?
Absolutely. We have the pace and need to bring the fight to Red Bull and not let McLaren get in on this.
All right, good luck today.
You heard George Russell's thoughts on this Grand Prix weekend. Due to the rain, everybody's going to be starting on the same compound after qualifying. Soft tires will be going on to mediums for that one and only pit stop area. Everybody starting on softs now as we get ready to roll for the formation lap, round number 3 of this 23 race schedule underway.
Here we go then, the formation lap gets underway and the excitement here is building as we near ever closer to the start of the race. Which team will come out on top? Who's got their strategies right for today's race? Well, we'll soon find out.
Well, the battle of the energy drinks continue. It's been Red Bull dominance, but Mercedes and Monster Energy have been right there, but McLaren, both of their cars, look quick today, second and third.
So as all the cars reform the grids, the drivers will be hoping to get a strong start. They'll want to earn some valuable points from today's race, with final communications being done with their race engineers, ensuring the planned strategies are all in place.
Okay, good luck here. Start can be a bit tricky, not a lot of room to work with, so keep the car clean.
Yep, 10-4. I'll get what I can here and as well make sure I don't look stupid. Unfortunately, looking stupid is one of my top qualities as a person, so yeah, let's just try to not bring that over into the Dutch Grand Prix, especially in the run towards turn 1, and as well try to avoid Max Verstappen. Don't want to ruin his home Grand Prix here now, but we're ready to roll. The final car is pulling up to the back of the grid, and we are set to go racing here from the Netherlands. Ferrari not looking hot, McLaren looking good for the first time this season. We're lights out here in the Netherlands now, and you immediately see I can't attack as Jackson had a poor start. Albon's up the inside of George Russell for the lead. Albon's had a horrendous start to this season due to really his own doing, you could really argue now. It's not really been anything out of his control. Things just haven't gone right for him now. Wrong place, wrong time. Battles maybe that he should have chosen more wisely. We saw the damage he picked up in Silverstone. Austria was more, he was just a victim that everybody was a victim to the chaos. Now Leclerc stays ahead here on the run towards the right-hander. And there, you see in the background, nearly contact. That was Lando Norris and Calimere nearly coming together, but looks like they get through it unscathed now as they can continue on. But that was nearly a big moment between those two drivers last episode. In Austria, we saw Calimere have her race ruined by Yuki Tsunoda. You as well heard penalty points sent to him as the FIA has not been messing around this season. And at the end of lap 1 already, Albon going for the lead of this Grand Prix, and then the typical Codemasters EA silliness with the AI at the end of lap 1. The AI loved a ghost, but Russell stays ahead for now. I'm settling in, and we got Oscar Piastri just in front. I said that was Charles Leclerc, completely inaccurate on that, but Piastri, Jack Doohan just in front of him. Netherlands, this is a track. Austria, I said going into Austria, wasn't a great track for me. Netherlands is also not a great track for me, so we kind of have race 2 and 3 is all about kind of survival. I'm not really expecting to, you know, go out of my way and win these races here. Now, we got another battle for the lead. This is already to lap 4, and Albon up the inside of Russell once again. Can't quite bring the fight to him, but you can see he is really after it right now. He's trying to make up for the poor start to the season in the first 2 Grand Prix. It's a long season. It's not the 16 races we had last season. It's back to the 23 that we know and love, and allowing things to really develop and play out. But Albon really looks like he's pushing hard here, almost out of desperation. Wheel to wheel on the exit of turn 1 at lap 5. This could get a little bit sketchy. He's alongside Russell on the run towards the bank curve. Russell locks up contact with Albon, and damage is going to be done to his front wing, but he takes the lead briefly.
Got damage. What the fuck, man? He just ran into me.
Albon having to be censored a little bit on the radio now, and that's going to cost him dearly now, and immediately he was able to get the lead out of that battle, but the question is, how long until you really see that damage start to affect him? You can kind of see a bit of a train formed here, and I'm right up to the back of Piastri, Jack Doohan, Calimere just behind myself, and then Lando Norris behind her, and then both Ferraris right now out of the points, Hamilton and Max Verstappen right now. Ferrari, I don't like what I'm seeing, really, you know, they look even worse than they did last season. What's going on there? You bring the superstar duo of Hamilton and Verstappen, and it looked good earlier with the win. Hamilton got round 2 last season in Mexico, but then it really hasn't shown since then. Verstappen's got a podium this season, you know, in Austria, but still, I don't like what I see out of that. They just don't seem to have it now as we continue on all the way to lap 8 in Albon is still leading the way, actually. He's kind of, like I said, he's developed a train, but and not only me, but everybody's kind of having trouble overtaking right now. We can't really seem to get close enough to have the opportunity, but by the time we come to the end of this 8th lap, things start to get a little bit better for the racing product here. Albon struggling, Russell goes through with DRS, and hold on, here comes Zayden Jackson up the inside. He's been winless for over a season now as he continues on. P2, Russell gets ahead now, and we talked about the battle of the energy drinks. Red Bull taking the first 2, Mercedes and Monster Energy looking to take round number 3 here. Now Russell and myself had an iconic battle at the beginning of the season, the first round in Silverstone, that went down to the final couple of corners here, slipping and sliding myself now. As you can see, Albon starting to back up everybody. Now that damage is starting to affect him big time. My teammate Drugovich gonna move through. That'll put him into a podium position. An unexpected move to the outside of Piastri there. He left himself vulnerable. Piastri, such a talented driver, but in the game is AI. Sometimes it's just really easy to kind of take advantage of him now. It just kind of seems to be lacking. We go through into P7, and now we run down Jack Doohan, who's run down Albon here. Albon, I mean, what has happened? Suddenly, the season continues to be in just rough shape for him. As you can see, Doohan now to the left side. Still, Jack Doohan doesn't even have a full season's worth of Formula 1 experience under his belt, and he's gotten a podium with a race victory, as well as today. Look at this. He is running absolutely exceptional in 5th place, and really what's standing out to me is not the fact that he's running 5th, but it's that the Connor Sport car seems to actually genuinely have the pace to hold its own in 5th. It's not there on luck like what we have seen before, but nonetheless, lap 12 with DRS assistance up the inside here into turn 1, and Jack Doohan's going to make it hard here on that Connor Sport McLaren, of course, partnership car, and he stays ahead for the time being now. So we remain P6, but it's not going to be long until we get the right opportunity to be able to make the move on this guy. And Jack Doohan, the story, of course, he replaced Devin Butler after his injury last season. What a story it has turned into, but we're going to breeze around the outside now, leave him the room that he is entitled to, and we go up into P5. Drugovich P4, he's been passed by Charles Leclerc on the Trackhouse machine. Trackhouse looking pretty good to start this season, specifically Leclerc. Don't forget, Leclerc did pick up a win as well late last season for Trackhouse to get their first win as a team. But you can look at the track map, and it's a runaway right now. It's Russell and Jackson way ahead. Then it's actually now towards the end of lap 15. Russell comes into the pits from the lead, and I decide, and as well Doohan decides, we're going to come in on lap 15. So my pit window was lap 16 at the end of that lap, but I decided I just wasn't making up any time, decided to pit, and we actually have to hold right there for the Ferrari. There's Albon coming in, but that's going to allow Jack Doohan to get in front of me. But my concern was, after I passed Doohan, I couldn't drive away. He stuck with me. He kept pressuring me, and I was losing time to the cars ahead here. Now as we exit the pits here, who is this? The Andretti of Liam Lawson right on our rear gearbox, or rear wing, sorry. But we stay ahead there, and now we can try to put the fight to these guys ahead now as well. So this was Russell coming into the pits. It's just moments before I made my pit stop there. They throw on the medium Bridgestones. I've completely forgotten to really talk about this subject, but the Bridgestone, they have moved on from groove tires this season. They've got the smooth tires now. But Jackson pits a lap later, and I don't know what happened, but Russell was able to build up a monumentally sized gap on Jackson. He goes into turn 1, and look at that gap. I mean, goodness gracious, he's going to be gone. You look at the track map now, and you can see, yeah, Russell in the bottom left there, I mean, is absolutely flying compared to Jackson. He is on cruise control at this point, and I am now with 20 laps to go, really trying to put the fight to Doohan. I got Norris and Mayer behind myself, and I was just struggling. I didn't quite have the pace, and like I said, Austria, Zandvoort, 2 tracks that I haven't had the greatest pace at really since this game has come out. So was I surprised by this performance? Absolutely not. Was I a little bit disappointed? Yes, but you know, you compare things to last season, and a disappointing day right now, last episode and this episode, is a P6, a P5, so I'm feeling pretty good about our chances this season right now, as we're going to go around the outside of Jack Doohan here, lap 19, thank you very much. Into the 5th position we go. Drugovich continues to run 4th, trying to run down Charles Leclerc in the Trackhouse machine, and he is running him down. I think he's going to be in position to go get the podium here, potentially within the next few laps. Unfortunately, again, I was able to get out in front what I'm doing, but I wasn't able to drive away. He would just be able to stick with me, be lurking behind, putting on some pressure. Norris as well, just behind myself, but my pace just wasn't really impressive. Doing lap 22, a run up the inside into turn number 1. The clouds starting to cover the circuit. Yellow flags, and that's Doohan. It's Jack Doohan with a mechanical failure. What a run, and it's going to come to a catastrophic end, and Albon's going to get stuck behind him. That's going to cost him dearly a lot of time there, and Doohan is out. That's 2 back-to-back unfortunate mishaps for Conesport. Last episode, it was Calimere, wrong place, wrong time. Tsunoda missing the pit entry line, and of course crashed her out of the race. Now it's today a mechanical failure, as Conesport is seeing some issues early on in the season, and they have given up some points that they are well deserving of, unfortunately, as we continue to slip and slide and struggle with pace here from Zandvoort now. And this is lap 23. Here comes Lando Norris up the inside, but now we've got a whole bunch of cars right here together. Piastri, Verstappen 7th and 8th, and then you got Mayer 9th, 10th, Albon, Hamilton down in P11, not even in the points currently. I decide to settle in for the time being and try to let Norris drag me along because our pace is just struggling so much. Dragovic now into P3. We're going to go through the grid here in these closing 10 laps here in the Dutch Grand Prix here from Zandvoort.
The energy drink war rages on, as that has been our unexpected fight early this year. George Russell puts Monster on top of Red Bull today as he commands a 2-second lead over Aiden Jackson.
And Jackson needs a good run today. Not been an easy start to the year for him or his 2-time defending world title teammate of Alex Albon. And we've seen Albon find trouble again today with the contact on Russell. He now runs in 9th, trying to recover.
Norris runs 5th, ahead of Owen and Piastri. How about Ferrari? More struggles again today. Ted, what can you tell us?
I can tell you they are confused and crumbling crofty. 2-star drivers with potential exits on the way. Hamilton shared this weekend. He is expected to decide on his future very soon. And rumour is that Verstappen finally wants to pursue his other racing interests that he has always talked about.
And what if both drivers leave? What could the plan for Ferrari be?
I genuinely think Calimere would be someone they aim to get. Outside of that, I think they would have to try and steal someone from other top rival teams.
All right, thanks, Ted. And there you see Yuri Vips, one of 2 Lotus rookies, running in 15th place. His teammate Marino Sato runs 17th.
A lot of work ahead for the Lotus team.
Yuki Tsunoda having an absolutely horrendous run right there at the bottom of the grid. Now we come to lap 28 at this point, following through the grid, and you can see the gap just under a second between myself and Norris. Cannot let him get out of the DRS, because if he does, he's probably going to drive away, and then I'll be, under some serious pressure at that point from the trackhouse machine of Oscar Piastri. So Dragovic into 3rd. He's driving away, putting a gap between himself and Leclerc. Unfortunately for Aiden Jackson, it looks like the winless streak will continue. He's just not closing in enough on Russell. He is closing, but yeah, just at the rate he's closing, he's not going to get there before this Grand Prix is over. Coming to lap 31 at this point, too big of a run on Norris to really just lay back at this point here. So we're going to dive up the inside. We've had our fair share of battles with Norris over the course of the last few seasons, especially since we've come to Red Bull, and we are wheel to wheel, and ahead of Lando Norris we go on lap 31. We make a mistake, and Norris is going to swing back around the outside through the banking. We're so close. I tried to leave him the room right there. I might have shoved him a little bit wide, but we get through back into 5th place. But look at this slide again onto the banking here on lap 32. That was nearly a big moment, but we're okay. And just really driving the daylights out of this car. I was driving so hard, trying to maintain my position, but it just isn't enough. Norris again on the run towards turn 1, coming to 4 to go, takes the position back, and I said, okay, we're just going to let things kind of play out here and try to pounce when the time is right and go get P5 from Lando Norris. Basically, that is the goal here. But will that actually become, a reality? That's the question. Russell in these closing laps has opened the gap back up to Aiden Jackson at this point now. Dragovic has continued to drive away from Leclerc, who's 7.5 seconds up the road from myself, and Norris, unfortunately, was really starting to stabilize the gap and make it really difficult on me to actually close in enough to be able to make a move. You can see I'm just struggling to stick with him, and now I'm under pressure from Piastri, who's within just a couple of car lengths at this point. Really felt like Austria today. Just not enough pace in the car. The raw pace wasn't there. I wasn't quite, into the car like I needed to be, and I expected that in Austria, and I expected it here, so I wasn't concerned. I kind of knew what I was in for, which makes my confidence oddly higher for the rest of the season when I'm having an uncomfortable day. And an uncomfortable day last season is to start the final lap was, out of the points or a DNF. An uncomfortable day so far in these first 3 races is a 5th, 6th place result. I'd like our chances this year now, as a bad day is not even that bad now. As we continue to put some pressure on Norris, we try to go to the banking. It wasn't enough here at this point now. And it's all George Russell here this weekend in Zandvoort. His teammate of Lando Norris runs in 5th place. Norris picked up the win last season in Japan in the Suzuka circuit, of course. But today it's not going to be his fortune. It's all on George Russell. Exiting the banking, George Russell wins in Zandvoort.
Let's go, George. Awesome in drive.
And the battle of the energy drinks lives on. It's Monster Energy on top today. Norris hangs on to the line over myself. We have to settle for P6 as he gets P5. I'm not even disappointed. Uncomfortable day leads us to P6. There is good things to come here now, and honestly, a solid start to the season when the R&D is so tight between teams. Russell, driver of the day.
What a great race then, and a magnificent victory here at the Dutch Grand Prix. So Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
Quite simply, a driver is nothing without the team behind them. So, a deserved winner, but we do have to give a shout out to the team in the pit lane and back at the factory. Very much a collaborative process.
I'm really trying to force myself this season to think long term. It's 23 Grand Prix. There's no need to get too aggressive and put ourselves in a silly situation to get ourselves taken out and put ourselves in the position that we did last season when I made a lot of mistakes early in the season, but we also had a lot of bad luck on our side as well. So I should be able to really keep myself in a good position. By the way, we're doing things right now in these first few Grand Prix. We've got a lot of exciting things on the horizon. By the way, the McLaren suits and the Connor Sport suits, the fire suits, those should be fixed next episode, so stay tuned on that. But yeah, I just basically have to reinstall the mod from scratch and it should be okay. But yeah, what a race, and we still have had Red Bull on podium in every Grand Prix. Unfortunately, only one time for me, twice now for Drugovich, and that will of course not help our early season standings by any means. And let's take a look at the driver standings. Mayer actually missed out on points there. She dropped a little bit down the order, but look at this. Russell on top over Drugovich by 11, 12 over me, 13 over Norris. Albon's struggles continue. Another rough day for him, and McLaren Toyota down in 5th in the constructors, while we are P2, 10 points back from Mercedes. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.